I want to wish you a pleasant good morning, and ladies and gentlemen, as we commemorate the 112th anniversary of the 1906 Great San Francisco Earthquake and Fire. My name is Bob Sarlott. Before we get going with all the great dignitaries and all the stories about the '06 earthquake, I think it's only fitting to have a salutation from the Imperial Highness himself. Would you please welcome Emperor Norton, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you all very much. It is splendid to see you all here bright and early, as we are every year. I have a special announcement to make today. As many of you know, we've been working on an effort through the San Francisco History Association for the last couple of years to raise the money to place a plaque on the DeYoung building over there to my right on the corner, as an official memorial for the 1906 earthquake and fire. And thanks to a $5,000 grant from the Victorian Alliance, we have met our goal. So hopefully next year we will see that plaque right there on this day. Thank you all to the donors and everybody who made it happen.
Thank you. The Emperor, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up. Well, as we always do before we bring our dignitaries, I want to say I'm Bob Sarlott. I am a native third-generation San Franciscan. It's great to be here. And once again, you hardy, crazy folks have come together at this ungodly hour to remember and honor the memories of those hardy San Franciscans who survived being tossed from their beds 112 years ago this morning at 5:12 or 5:11 or 5:13, depending on which native tells the tale. 112 years ago, powerful seismic waves roared across the prosperous city of San Francisco. Experts today estimate that the Colossus earthquake was around 7.9 on the modern magnitude scale. By the end of the first day, the city by the bay would suffer 26 aftershocks and would succumb to a raging inferno that would show no mercy to its bewildered citizens for 74 hours. The following is a brief timeline of the calamitous events the residents of San Francisco faced during those harrowing days. I'd like to give you a moment-by-moment description of what happened to our city and its citizens on this morning, 112 years ago. Later, I will introduce you some of our fellow San Franciscans who work every day to make sure we will all be survivors of the inevitable next big one. Wednesday, April 18th, 1906, 5:12 in the morning. A great foreshock is felt throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. Some 20 to 25 seconds later, San Francisco residents are awakened by a tremor 45 to 60 seconds long, measuring 7.9 on the modern magnitude scale. The first casualties from the massive quake, occur when low-rent tenements in the south of Market District collapse. Hundreds are killed and the liquefied ground swallows their homes. More victims are added to the death toll as collapsed structures immediately catch fire and prevent rescue attempts. Tragically, the man we would need most to fight the rampant fires, Fire Chief Dennis T. Sullivan, is fatally wounded during the earthquake. He would die 4 days later when a spire tower of the California Hotel collapses onto his fire station home. Due to severe earthquake damage, telephone and telegraph communication within the city is impossible. A few messages are sent around the world via the Pacific Cable before that line, too, fails. 6 a.m. San Francisco Mayor Eugene Schmitz is unaware of the severity of the quake until anxious city officials arrive at his door. He leaves the safety of his home and heads downtown to see for himself the enormous scale of the disaster. 6:30 a.m. All available troops are ordered to report to the mayor at the Hall of Justice. Some 1,700 soldiers come to the aid of both residents and firefighters. 8:14 a.m. A major aftershock strikes and causes many of the damaged buildings still standing to collapse. Throughout the day, the city suffers 26 aftershocks, each one slowing the already overstretched rescue effort. Fires rage and spread throughout the city. They are not stopped until 74 hours later. Many of San Francisco's finest buildings collapse under the firestorms. Firefighters begin dynamiting buildings to create fire breaks. 1 p.m. in the afternoon, the temporary hospital set up outside City Hall is abandoned due to the impending fire break. The sick and injured are forced to evacuate to temporary camps throughout the city and in parks on the edge of town. 3 p.m., Mayor Schmitz appoints the Committee of 50, comprising the city's most prominent citizens and businessmen. Hearing reports of looting in the streets, the mayor orders a shoot-to-kill proclamation against any looters. 8 p.m. in the evening, hopes of saving downtown are dashed as a new blaze breaks out and shifting winds push the fires toward the heart of the city. 9 p.m., firefighters make a stand at Union Square on Powell Street, but the fire breaches the battle line and continues relentlessly up Nob Hill. Thursday, April 19, 1906, 2 a.m., California Governor George Pardee arrives in Oakland to assess the damage. San Francisco's 3 main newspapers, The Call, The Chronicle, and The Examiner, borrow the presses from an Oakland paper to print a special joint edition. 6 p.m., responding to a wireless telegraph message, the USS Chicago arrives in San Francisco Bay to help in the relief efforts. The great fire reaches Van Ness Avenue, which is 125 feet wide. Facing the decision to blow his city to pieces or watch it burn, Mayor Schmitz finally agrees to let the Army create a massive fire break in the hopes it can stop the raging inferno. The decision means abandoning dozens of city blocks, many of them filled with mansions, to the fire. The rich spectators who have spent the day watching the fires from atop Nob Hill finally realize their homes won't be saved and will soon burn. Friday, April 20th, 1906, 5 a.m., the fire break at Van Ness finally holds, and the westward progression of the inferno is halted. Mayor Schmitz makes an announcement proclaiming victory in the Battle of Van Ness. 18 seamen from the USS Chicago rescue 20,000 refugees in unprecedented evacuation by sea. Saturday, April 21st, 1906, 7:15 a.m., all the flames have finally been extinguished. Mayor Schmitz officially declares the fire over. Sunday, April 22nd, cable cars begin running again on Market Street. April 18th, 2018 to the present time. Today, no one knows when the next great quake will come, but San Francisco is doomed to relive the horrific events of 1906 because the San Andreas fault never rests. It may strike tomorrow or not for 100 years, but it might just strike as the city sleeps tonight. Good morning, everybody. Let's have a good time from here on in right now. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome a bunch of people before I start bringing them out. We're going to bring out Mayor Mark Farrell in a second, former Mayor Willie Brown, Fire Chief Joanne Hayes-White, Police Chief Bill Scott, and we even have a little presentation featuring Anita Lee, wife of former Mayor Ed Lee. And we want to thank a few people as well. John Constantine of John's Grill. Give him a hand. John's Grill is a fabulous place up on Ellis Street. For decades, they've supported this commemoration. The fire, police, and sheriff's departments for their continued support. Guardians of the city who are charged with the preservation of the city. Jimmy Lee and company, my good friend, my buddy Dave Eberly, who's like the guy who sweeps up behind the elephants at the zoo. He just makes everything seamless. We have Ron Ross and the San Francisco History Association. Lily Hitchcock Coit, played by Donna Huggins. Lily turns 175 this year. She looks damn good. All right. And Chalee Housekeeper, who the San Francisco Examiner calls a PR impresario for making this happen for over 25 years. Give him a nice hand. And now as we approach our bewitching time of 5, 11, or 12, it's time to pass the mic to our great city folks who have done such a great job. Our 6-month mayor is here, is a great guy. Would you please welcome to the podium Mayor Mark Farrell, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Yeah, trying to. All right, good morning, everybody. So first of all, I want to congratulate everybody on waking up this early and getting here. And as I understand from Lee, this is the longing-running flash mob in San Francisco history. 99 years that people have been coming here to celebrate this event at 5 in the morning on this amazing day. You know, a few things. First of all, we are here to remember the 1906 earthquake. And we have gotten the full timeline, of course, of the 1906 earthquake this morning. But really, I want to make sure that we remember those thousands of lives that were lost here in the city of San Francisco. Many generations later, we still have families living in our city that lost loved ones. We want to remember everything that happened as a city, the destruction, but also certainly years later, the rebuild. And second of all, we want to remind ourselves this morning and today that the next big one in San Francisco, it is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And that we need to be prepared as a city. As mayor of this city, as residents of this city, we need to be prepared for the next big one to hit here in San Francisco. And so it is so incumbent upon us, and that's why I want to thank all of our public safety departments. And can we just get a separate round of applause for our fire, police, sheriff's department that are here today? These are the men and women that keep us safe every single day here in San Francisco, put their lives on the line for us. and our 911 dispatchers, everybody that keeps us safe in our emergency system. Today's a day to thank them, but also remind ourselves as residents to re-engage with our 911 services, with our emergency services, to make sure as families and as individuals we are prepared for the next one here in San Francisco. And lastly, I would like to take a special moment to remember our late mayor, Ed Lee, who was a friend to so many of us here this morning, but also was a stalwart at this event. He did not miss a single one during his time as mayor. And I just want to make sure that we take a moment, first of all, to thank Mayor Lee's wife, Anita Lee, for being here. Anita. And we take a brief moment to remember Mayor Lee and his legacy, but especially for his dedication here at this event. Thank you, everybody. Have a great morning. Pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good to see you. All right. Mayor Mark Farrell doing a great job. By the way, I hope your singing voices are in shape, because right before we ring the bells here at 5:12, we're going to sing a little San Francisco, and I will need some help. It's a tough key. Okay. Coming up next is a personal friend and a great administrator and great gift to the city. She's esteemed and she's terrific. Would you please welcome our fire chief, Joanne Hayes White, ladies and gentlemen. And take your time.
All right. Good morning, everyone. All right. Welcome once again to Lotta's Fountain, as we do three things. We commemorate today, we celebrate today, and we take the time to educate today. I'm proud to be serving as your San Francisco Fire Chief. As a native San Franciscan, it gives me great pride to reflect on our rich history and tradition. And many of you, I know, come out here with your families and make it a very special event over time. There's several generations. I know the Murphy family's here, and we have several Murphys that have graced the San Francisco Fire Department. I'd like to acknowledge all the men and women in public safety, in the police department, the sheriff's department, personally in the fire department, the men and women that are here. Many of them are here today. We have some future aspiring firefighters. We want to commemorate what happened in 1906, 112 years ago today. On this morning, there was seismic activity, but really there was fires that raged for 3 days that nearly swept our city from the map. And it was because of our resilient community then and our resilient community now that we are the vibrant city that we are, San Francisco. There are 4 people that I'd like to just reflect upon that we've lost. One who I became friends with, he died in January of 16 at the age of 110. He was one of our last survivors. And I met with his niece yesterday at the John's Grill luncheon that they had. Bill Del Monte was a fixture here for many years and a great San Franciscan. I want to acknowledge him. We also lost Michael Mustaki this year, who had great love for the city and captured many photographs of our city, and particularly our public safety departments. I know we have an undersheriff here today, Undersheriff Freeman. Sheriff Hennessy couldn't be here today, and I'd like you to keep her in your thoughts and prayers. She lost her husband, Jim, a 34-year veteran of the San Francisco Police Department, over the weekend. Otherwise, Sheriff Hennessy would be here. And as Mayor Farrell said, and I want to thank him for his leadership, it was an honor and a privilege to work for Mayor Ed Lee. Today is bittersweet in that this is the first Lotta's Fountain that he has not participated. Not only was he a tremendous leader, great advocate for public safety, but a true team player. He became really a mentor to me, but also a friend, and it was an honor for me this morning at 4:30 to pick up his wife, Anita, who has joined us here today. So my thoughts and prayers continue to be with the Lee family. Thank you for coming out. And again, I'd like to pay huge tribute to Mayor Edwin Lee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joanne, a total pro, making it happen this morning. All right. We've got a few more folks to bring up before we do our singing and we hang the wreath here. Our newest addition to law enforcement in the city, I got to meet, I think, about this time last year when he first arrived in town. Would you please welcome our police chief, Bill Scott, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. So I, too, would like to thank all of our public safety partners, but I also would like to thank the other members of the city family that always is shoulder to shoulder with us, and they're right behind me. Muhammad Nuru from DPW, got Ed Riskin from MTA, Tom Huey from DBI. We have a great team in this city, and so let's give them a round of applause as well, because when you talk about resilience, when you talk about being ready for the big one, I know you guys see us first, the police and fire, we're in uniform, we get the first call, but we can't do what we do without the team of people that I just mentioned and many others that make this city great. I mean, we got some great people in this city, and we are a resilient city. So on behalf of the men and women of the San Francisco Police Department, let's take this moment not only to remember all of the people that we lost in 1906, but also remember what it takes to survive when we have the big one or when we have a catastrophic incident. Be ready. SF-72, 72 hours. Be ready to take care of yourself for 72 hours. Stock up on your water, stock up on your food. And I can't preach that enough, because in times when the big one hits, it might be a while before we can get to you. So we always have to be ready, and let's be resilient. So thank you for being here, and again, be ready and stock up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. Oh, got it. It's all right. That's why I'm here. All right. Chief Scott, let's hear it one more time for him, please. Well, it's not my pleasure to bring up who we used to call DeMayor. He's a real big city mayor and still a great guy and a great force in this town. But he almost purchased a designer Kevlar vest for his comments about changing Lotta's fountain, until he reconsidered after learning that Lotta Crabtree smokes cigars just like Rose Pack. But here he is. He can follow anybody and do anything he wants up here. Would you please welcome our former mayor, Willie Lewis Brown, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. There you go. Grab that sucker.
I will. We only have a couple of minutes before all the bells start ringing and the horns start going off, commemorating the time in which the quake actually hit San Francisco. It was some time ago, when first serving as mayor, that you suggested that somehow this fountain should really work. We worked on it, put out a lot of money, but we had one great leader doing the job of making sure this fountain ultimately worked, and that was Ed Lee. He's been referenced by several people when they've come to say words, but there is no way for the city to thank Ed Lee except every time we pause, just at the time the bell starts to ring, we must remember the water is flowing because of Ed Lee, the mayor of San Francisco. And it's interesting that that would be the case, because at the time in 1906, the Chinese who were harmed just as the quake hit were not permitted to use the quake. And in the conversation with Ed Lee about the restoration of the quake, we had that in mind. And so on this morning and on this day, I am just delighted that we are pausing to say thank you to a Chinese brother who helped put the water back in here for all of us in the true spirit of San Francisco. Please, thank you, Ed Lee. Over the years, I've had a great relationship with Ed Lee. He worked with me, he worked for me, he worked in every capacity he was ever called upon by this city and by you, and he did an excellent job. And it was because he had an incredible helpmate, and she's here this morning. I don't know, I think our fire chief works as an Uber driver part-time. At 4:30, she picked her up and brought her here. So I'm just going to ask her to step up here a minute. This is Anita Lee, Ed's widow, and next to him is the mayor of San Francisco, and we're about to put a wreath.
Ready to do it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Why don't I go? I'll go grab it. Yep.
Okay.
Got it? All right. All right. Anita, you're going to come in the middle.
Okay. Oh, perfect. They did a hook.
Yeah.
Put a hook.
Ladies and gentlemen, we dedicate this wreath in honor of Edwin M. Lee, 43rd Mayor of San Francisco, and to all those who perished during the great earthquake and fire in 1906. And is it possible to get anybody else on this stage? Is that possible? How about a nice hand for all the guys and gals you see up here? Our two mayors, Anita, our fire chief, our police chief, our new mayor, Lee housekeeper. Give Lee another hand. He's doing a great job. And the fabulous Lily Coit. And we have a lot of Crabtree here. Give her a hand. She's smoking a cigar in the back right now. Okay. Give her a nice hand and see if I can. Should we do it now? It's time. Perfect. Our timing is perfect. This is like how many people can get in a phone booth here? This is great. Wow, this looks like an accident waiting to happen. Let's call the fire chief in here to make sure we got too many people on the stage. Bring one of your inspectors over. Okay, it's about 5:11, 5:10. What do you say right now? We ask for a minute of silence to remember those who perished and those who survived the San Francisco earthquake. Let's start the minute right now. Thank you very much. It's 5:11. It is now 5:12. What do you say we all start San Francisco? Let's do it together.
All right. 1 and a 2 and a 3.
It only takes a tiny corner of this great big world to make a place you love. My home upon the hill, I find I love you still. I've been away, but now I'm back
To tell you, San Francisco, open your golden gate. You'll let no stranger wait outside your door. San Francisco, here is your wandering one, saying I'll wander no more.
Comes the bridge now.
Other places only make me love you best. Tell me you're the heart of all the golden West. San Francisco, welcome you home again. I'm coming home to go wandering no more.
Give yourselves a big hand, San Francisco. We survived another day. And now it's time to invite everyone to go to 20th and Church Street for the Golden Hydrant painting. Let's go. Thanks, everybody.
Make sure you follow me up to the hydrant, and I want to congratulate all of you for knowing all the